Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, today, it's got me thinking, what other missing episodes could come back from Doctor Who? I know we've had tremendous success back in the past with The Enemy of the World, The Web of Fear, and also with The Underwater Menace. Unfortunately, terrible DVD release. And then we had news that The Power of the Daleks was going to be animated in 2016, and that was a big success for many people. And I can hardly see, could we get another missing episode this year? I mean, it seems very unlikely. It happens in a coincidence that there could be another DVD release or another missing episode found. Or are the BBC hiding something for us that we don't know about? You know, you never know. All these rumours go around of like missing episodes being found when unfortunately they're not true at all. There's always a possibility, that slight little possibility that we might get something, but we have to be patient. It could happen within the next month, next year, next few decades or so, but we will hopefully wait and see until another missing episode is found, and potentially it could lead to another DVD release, you never know. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Today I'm going to be here to talk about on my top 10 favourite stories that I really want to see return in the missing stories. So, without further ado, let's begin my top 10 stories that I want to see back in Doctor Who. So, let's begin with number 10. Coming in at number 10, we have the Highlanders. Now, this one's a personal one, of my opinion. I've seen reconstructions and animations of the Highlanders, but many people like the audio, and many people think it's the last pure historical in Doctor Who for the 1960s. That may be so, but I think the pure historicals were morely associated with the William Hartnell era. But with the Patrick Troughton era, I don't think historicals were on the key for Patrick Troughton. And with this story, it felt like the last pure historical in the 1960s. And many people think it's a good story, it's not a bad story, and it'll be a great chance to see it recovered. And it'll be a great opportunity to see Fraser Hines' first story in Doctor Who be recovered. And it would be such a joy, because there's only a few scenes surviving from the Highlanders, but I really wanted to come back, and also for Fraser Hines' sake, to see his first story in Doctor Who be recovered, and that would really be special for him. So that was at number 10, the Highlanders. Now for number 9. Coming in at number 9. Now this story may confuse people. You may be thinking, why the hell have I put this on the list? You may think it's a bit dull, or there's no chance of it coming back. And at number 9, we have the Space Pirates. Why have I put this on the list? You may think I have no idea, but hear me out, hear me out. The Space Pirates, to me, feels like a visual story. Like, you need visuals to fully appreciate the story. Now, we only have episode 2, and I can tell you, it doesn't have as many visuals of the spaceships and what's happening around in the story. To fully appreciate the Space Pirates, we should have the visuals, or maybe another episode from the Space Pirates, to fully intrigue us and to fully appreciate the story. Because I feel that, from my honest opinion, many people don't like the Space Pirates, and I just think that maybe they haven't seen the entire story yet, and that would be a really good thing if we have the Space Pirates recovered, to see the visuals and fully appreciate the story. So that's really what I want to see of the Space Pirates. It's such a great story that many people really hate, and to be honest with you, I'm actually quite interested, that I really want the Space Pirates to come back. So yeah, that was at number 9, the Space Pirates. Now for number 8. Coming in at number 8. Now this story, to many people, it's one of the most darkest historicals ever in Doctor Who. You know what I'm on about. It's the Massacre at number 8. This story, to many people's eyes, is one of the darkest historicals in Doctor Who history. It's like it's dark as hell, as many people say. But is that really true? It may work brilliantly on audio, and don't get me wrong, but perhaps maybe the visuals perhaps will let us see how dark the Massacre really is for sure. It may work brilliant on audio, and maybe the reconstructions aren't that brilliant. I could possibly see an animation of it, but we really need to see the Massacre in full quality. I mean, there's only very, very, very little key scenes remain in the Massacre. So yeah, The Massacre is definitely one story that really needs to be brought back. It's an underrated story that many people really, really love. It's such an underrated story, and it suffers morely of the enemy of the world. When the enemy of the world was missing, everybody completely forgot about it. But if The Massacre was brought back, it would be given much more appreciation for it, and I think it will have the same effects as the enemy of the world. Since the enemy of the world was brought back, the viewing figures of the ratings for the enemy of the world has gone up, and that's why I love the enemy of the world. Such an underrated story, but now it's become like one of the most popular Doctor Who stories to watch. So this could happen with The Massacre. I can see it happening, but will it ever be recovered? In our minds, we hope, but literally in the real world, I'm not too sure. We just have to wait and see. Anyway, that was number 8, The Massacre. Now for number 7. At number 7, we have the first ever pure historical in Doctor Who to ever be lost, and very, very, very few scenes remain in this story. We've only seen a 30-minute reconstruction version of this story in the Age of Destruction DVD. Yes, at number 7, we have Marco Polo. This story is truly the most best, or actually, in my personal opinion, one of the most truly acceptable historical stories in Doctor Who history. Such a masterpiece, so much high quality characters, the scripting is amazing, and I've seen bits of Marco Polo with CGI reconstruction and animation, but we really need to see some visuals and like the visual real content of Marco Polo, because very, very, very few stuff survive, and I certainly want to see Marco Polo like fully in good quality. But again, we've had rumours that is the BBC actually hiding the Marco Polo story? Or are they just begging for more money so they can have the money to basically make it into a DVD release? Perhaps, we don't know for sure. But Aaron told me on All Things Doctor Who that the reason why they've actually kept Marco Polo a secret is that because they've literally decided that the audio, they found Marco Polo, but I'm not. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually true. Please forgive me, but what he told me was that I'm not sure. Again, this is not true, not for certain. He said that they found the visuals, but there was no audio with it. So what the BBC was trying to figure out, could they connect the audio to the visuals and match it up word for word? I mean, it would take some time, it would be really, really difficult. So I don't see that happening, and perhaps maybe all of the rumours of Marco Polo is actually a fake, actually a scam. So again, we've had all these rumours that Marco Polo could be hiding in the BBC, but again, we have no evidence whatsoever. So again, we'll have to wait and see for any more news of Marco Polo. But again, Marco Polo is a fantastic story, as many people rate it so highly as a brilliant historical story, and I just really want to see it for myself, definitely. Alright, that was at number 7, Marco Polo. Now for number 6. At number 6, now Aaron, if you're watching this, you're going to be absolutely amazed at this story. Like, you sort of mention it in like every single video, like, alright then, you did it in your Series 10 and reactions video, and you mentioned about one story, yes, and you sort of mentioned that this story must come back, and it's your favourite underrated story. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but, you know, please correct me if I'm getting this wrong. And at number 6, we have The Wheel in Space. Yeah, you saw the Series 10 trailer and you saw that big wheel. What did that remind you of? Yes, The Wheel in Space. Could it be a recreation of The Wheel in Space? I don't know. Anyway, The Wheel in Space is an absolutely underrated story. It's one of those stories that seems very, very creepy and very atmospheric towards the entire audience. And it's one story that, again, needs visuals. I think with all of the episodes and all of the stories on my list, they certainly need visuals to fully appreciate the story. I think with episodes 3 and 6 that survive from The Wheel in Space are absolutely amazing. But if we had like episode 5 and episode 4, those episodes are actually the creepiest in my opinion, because you can really see what the Cybermen are actually planning in the 4th and 5th episode. I mean, the reconstructions are really good, and maybe the animation's possibly good, but I feeling like that when you watch an entire full story with no animation or reconstruction, it feels like a proper Doctor Who story, like you're watching it on TV. And it's just one story that really needs to come back, because it's suffering from the enemy of the world. Many people really forget about this story. It's really fantastic. I mean, I certainly love it. I mean, the music is absolutely amazing in this. And I think the Cybermen are as creepy as ever. Same as in the Moon Base. Again, this story really needs to be recovered so badly. And for Aaron's sake, I hope the Wheeling Space is recovered, or perhaps maybe they'll find another 2 episodes or so and then probably animate the entire rest. But you never know, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, at number 6, the Wheeling Space. Now for number 5. Alright guys, we're halfway through at number 5. Now this is a story that in my opinion, is truly underrated. But many people really forget about this story. And WhoCons, if you don't know, then I'll put the link in the description. The trailer that's coming soon on WhoCons, if you're a big fan of those, it's basically like they do CGI reconstruction and animation for all the missing episodes. And they're actually doing one very soon, in a couple of days time. So please keep an eye out on WhoCons as just a little shout out. And they're doing their next project, which is the next, at number 5, is the Faceless Ones. This story is absolutely a true gem to watch. It's a truly underrated gem. I absolutely love the Faceless Ones. I think episodes 1, 3 are the only ones that survive, and all the rest are missing. And I've seen the reconstruction of all those missing episodes, and there is so much to that story. It really needs the visuals. On audio, it works really well, and I like the reconstruction of it. I'm not a big fan of reconstruction, but I get by it if the reconstruction is done well. Again, Faceless Ones is absolutely an amazing story, and it's Malcolm Hulke's first ever story, and I just really want to see what the actually chameleons look like. It's a really well written story, and I just really want to see it for myself, because it's just one story that doesn't get talked about a lot. It feels like a very underrated story, like the most underrated story that I've heard from the missing episodes. So yeah, the Faceless Ones is definitely needs to come back. I would rate it an 8, because episodes 1 and 3 are actually really good, quite creepy and very mysterious, and it all connects to the entire plot line. So I don't know the entire plot line of the story, but again, I really need to another rewatch of it, and that's why I really want it to come back. It definitely needs to be more appreciated. Alright, that was at number 5, the Faceless Ones. Now for number 4. Coming in at number 4, now this story, again, by many people, they love this story on audio. It's one of the best atmospheric stories on audio, and if it works better on audio for them. And it's one story that many people talk about. A couple of weeks ago, people started talking about this certain story, like it could return, and many people had high hopes for the story, and they really loved the entire story. And it is the Macro Terror. Again, this story, truly underrated again, but what really works for the Macro Terror is the audio. The audio works absolutely phenomenal for the Macro Terror. And for animation sort of okay, but with the audio, it works so well in audio. But perhaps maybe if it had the visuals with it as well, would it be as good as the audio? So you never know. The Macro Terror definitely is one appreciated story for the audio, but if we have it back, many people will be crazy about the Macro Terror. It's one story that really needs more appreciation. Again, I absolutely love all these stories on the list, and certainly of these stories, they need more appreciation, and that's why we need more missing episodes to be found, and the visuals to fully appreciate the entire story of all of these stories on my lists. So yeah, at number 4, the Macro Terror. Now, before we move on to the top 3, I just want to give out two honourable mentions that unfortunately couldn't make the list. So, my first honourable mention is the Celestial Toymaker. Again, it needs visuals to fully appreciate it, because it's more a visual story with all the jokes and the Celestial Toymaker's plans, and so it's quite a visual story to the Celestial Toymaker. Yet again, episode 4 is absolutely brilliant, and that's the only part of the Celestial Toymaker that survives, but I really want to see more of it, and how does the Doctor get intrigued by the Celestial Toymaker's mind games. So it's quite an interesting story that I really want to see again. Second honourable honorable mention, we have the Savages. Now, they had rumours, or some people had rumours, that this story was apparently found, but it was all junk, it was all just a scandal. So, unfortunately, the Savages is not actually found at all. Again, all of these stories, they need actual proof to fully appreciate that this story is actually coming back. Because you can't say that, oh yeah, that's definitely going to be coming back, because it certainly needs evidence. People won't believe you. After the Savages scandal, and also the Smugglers as well, they haven't come back again as well. So all of these rumours go around. It's just a bit mental at the moment. But again, the Savages is another talkable story that really needs to be recovered, and many people really enjoy it on audio. But again, the visuals are absolutely crucial for this story to be really successful and memorable as well. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions. Now, moving on to number 3. Coming in at number 3. Now, this story definitely should be like the next story to be animated, of course. Like they did with The Power of the Daleks. They surely should animate this one. Yes, it's the second Dalek story from Pactratron's era. The Evil of the Daleks. If they've managed to animate The Power of the Daleks, why not The Evil of the Daleks? Perhaps maybe they could take a bit more time with the animation for The Evil of the Daleks to fully extend its integrity of the story. Perhaps maybe that. But again, The Evil of the Daleks is a fantastic 7-part epic story, and I really want to see the Emperor Dalek in all of the scenes, and just to fully see the whole entire plot of the whole story, because again, the reconstructions are good, but only if done well. Animation's really good, and I just really want to see perhaps maybe if the Evil of the Daleks could be animated again, same as the Power of the Daleks, but maybe a bit more advanced with the animation. Because I think when the BBC were trying to rush with the animation, I think some of the times they made a few mistakes with the Power of the Daleks animation, and it felt a bit of a rushed job. Although they were up against time with trying to get it released by the 5th of November, they were trying, so hard to get the entire of the Power of the Daleks fully animated within that time limit. But maybe with the Evil of the Daleks, maybe if they're planning it right now, perhaps maybe they could just take their time on it and make sure the animation is pretty spot on. So yeah, The Evil of the Daleks is at number 3, and definitely another Dalek story that certainly needs to be appreciated. And as The Power of the Daleks was found and animated, it certainly got the appreciation that it absolutely deserved. And the same thing goes with The Evil of the Daleks as well, definitely. Alright, that was at number 3, The Evil of the Daleks. Now for number 2. Coming in at number 2. Now, this story was really hard to either put it at number 1 or as number 2. And I have to put it at number 2 because this story is absolutely an epic story. It's a 12-part episode that we all really want to see more episodes come back from this epic story. It's the mother of all Hartnells, the Daleks' master plan. It's absolutely amazing, the granddaddy of them all, the best story from William Hartnell's era by far. And unfortunately, only 3 episodes survive from this story. But if we have more interesting episodes recovered from this story, then this story will probably get another DVD release. Or perhaps maybe they're waiting until all of the episodes from the Daleks' master plan are completely found, and then they're perhaps maybe going to convert it into an entire massive big DVD release. I bet it's going to be like a 4 discs, DVD release, I bet. But we don't know for sure. Again, the Daleks' master plan could turn up anywhere. The remaining missing episodes could turn up anywhere in the world, but we just have to keep on searching. And it's one story that, again, same as the War Games, but thank goodness the War Games isn't lost, because that story would be morely lost than the Daleks' master plan, in my opinion. Because many people love the War Games, I certainly do, and the Daleks' master plan, with the 3 missing episodes that we have so far, I give the Daleks' master plan a 9 out of 10. But only reasons why, because the missing episodes remaining, really, it needs more. I know with the 12-parter, you really want to expect more from the story. And since it is a 12-part episode story, this story has to be really motivating. It really has to motivate you towards the end of the story. And I felt within like episodes 5, it dragged a bit for me. But again, the Daleks' master plan, for many people on audio, reconstruction or animation, they love the Daleks' master plan, and I certainly want. And let's just hope that maybe a couple of episodes more of the Daleks' master plan could be found, and we can perhaps maybe look forward to another DVD release. Again, we're not too sure. So that was number 2, the Daleks Master Plan. Now finally, we're moving on to the final, my favourite story that I absolutely want to see in Doctor Who is at number 1. So, what missing episode or what missing story am I missing from my list? Well, this story is absolutely tremendously awesome. And it's one story that works ultimately so brilliant on audio. It's so adrenaline heart-beatingly fantastic. And did you know that I mentioned that little bit of the heart beating? What does that remind you of? Yes, at number 1, it is Fury from the Deep. This story is absolutely the most best atmospheric story on audio. And if it was found, Doctor Who fans will ultimately appreciate Fury from the Deep, because it's one story that ultimately has so many brilliant aspects. The seaweed monster, the heart-beating music, creepy atmospheric moments makes you so terrified. It's one story that we all need to experience and get a fright out of. It's so spine-chilling, this story. And ultimately, from my expression, I've seen a couple of scenes from the Fury from the Deep, and in episode 2, when the 2 people go into the room and choke that woman to death, it's absolutely mind-blowing, that scene of where Mr. Quill is actually giving out the gas kind of thing. That scene is absolutely amazing. I think that's the only scene from Fury from the Deep that we can actually get a fright out of. It's absolutely so scary, and really, it's one story that could really terrify us as Doctor Who fans and really appreciate Fury from the Deep. As it works brilliantly on audio, I really want to see the visuals so badly. Like, I'm drawing to the camera. Seriously, Fury from the Deep must be found. Hopefully sooner or later, because it definitely needs that appreciation for Doctor Who fans to fully experience terror in Doctor Who for once. So, that ends this video 4 of my top 10 stories that I really want to see come back in Doctor Who. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you get commenting down below on your top 10 stories that you really want to see back in Doctor Who. I've given out my list. I really want to see what your opinions are on what your top 10 stories should come back in Doctor Who from the missing stories. So, thank you guys for watching for this video. But again, with the missing stories, we'll just have to wait and see. We just have to wait, be patient, and hope that maybe a missing episode could come back. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.